Good Monday morning, Blue Streaks. It is May 18th, your last Monday of your school year. So I hope you had a good weekend. And I'm just going to go over a few answers from Worksheet B just to review what you were supposed to be doing. Some of you are missing a few of the details, so please pay attention. But again, keep up the good work. We're going to have a homework assignment today, which is the practice quiz. And then on Wednesday, I will post a quiz, and that will be it for this school year. So let's finish strong and get started. So this first one is number 1 from the worksheet, and we are changing from radians to degrees on this one. So when we do this, we will multiply by 180 over pi, so that the pi's will get canceled. All right, so we're going to just cancel those right now. Okay, and then we're going to use our calculator and do 5 times 180 divided by 12. Simple. You can do it, no problem. All right, so 5 times 180 divided by 12, and we get 75 degrees. So there you go. That was number 1, number of degrees. All right, number 2, we're going to multiply again, changing from radians to degrees, by 180 over pi, so that we can cancel out our pi's. Now I know 18 goes in 180 10 times, right? 18 times 10. So I'm just going to do this. That's a 1, and that's a 10 now. And all I have to do is multiply negative 29 times 10, which means all I have to do is add a 0. So it's negative 290 degrees. All right. So again, don't forget your negative sign, little details there. So that was changing from radians to degrees. These two, number 4 and 7 from the worksheet, we are changing from degrees to radians. Okay, so what I like to do on these is we multiply by pi over 180, but basically that means we're just dividing by 180 and putting pi in our numerator. All right, so you just divide by 180 and make sure pi is in your numerator. All right, and then that would equal, all right, the 180s would cancel. So in radians, that's negative pi. All right, simple. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for number 7. We're going to go, again, degrees to radians. So we're going to divide by by 180 and put pi in the numerator. So I just had some pi's ready to go there. Okay, so both numbers here end in 0, so I'm just going to cancel them. It's like dividing by 10, and then 2 goes into both of those. So 40 divided by 2 would be 20, and remember, pi stays in my numerator. And then 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 20 pi over 9 would have been number 7, okay? So when we get to our practice quiz and quiz, we're going to have a few of those types of problems, okay? And then again, just going over this unit circle again, all right, it's a circle with radius of 1 unit. So if I draw a line from the origin to any of these points, the length of that line is 1, okay? So even from the origin out here to 0 degrees, you know, that point is 1, 0, because we went out 1 unit. Okay, so my hypotenuse, if I were to draw right triangles in all these, my hypotenuse would always be 1, okay? And again, these are 30, 60, 90 right triangles and 45, 45, 90 right triangles. But again, we're not even using those. We're just looking at the unit circle to help us answer the questions, okay? And remember, the sign of that degree measure is the red number, the red coordinate, or the y coordinate of our point, and the cosine will be the blue one, which is the x value of the point, or x coordinate. Okay, and remember, x comes before y in the alphabet, and if we were putting cosine and sine in alphabetical order, cosine would come before sine. So remember, cosine goes with the x, and sine goes with the y. And then remember, tangent is opposite side over adjacent, which is the y value. Because if I were to draw a right triangle, let's say I draw this right triangle here, this out to 150 and straight down. Okay, there's my right angle always. The hypotenuse would be 1. Theta would be back here, our reference angle, back by the origin. Opposite side is this one, which is my y value, over adjacent, which is the x value. All right, so that's why tangent is y over x. Okay? All right, so again, we don't have to really remember that. Just wanted you to help maybe understand that. Okay, we're just going to look at these. And again, I use the 5 pi over 6. So I'm going to delete those so you don't have to look at that. It's not in your way. All right, so we're doing 5 pi over 6. This is number 12. And we're supposed to find the exact value. So these exact values are these fractions in simplest form and simplest radical form. Now, tangent is the y value over the x, okay? So I'm looking at 5 pi over 6, which is right here, this 150 degree angle. So I'm looking at those two ordered pairs. Remember, there's the x value, the negative radical 3 over 2, and there's the y value, 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to put the y value, 1/2, in the top. Whoa, that was bad. And my x value is in the bottom, which is negative radical 3 over 2. So that's the fraction. Now I have to simplify this. Some of you were putting this in decimal form. Some of you are just leaving it like that. Okay, so we have to simplify this. So remember, when you divide a fraction by a fraction, it's like multiplying by its reciprocal. So I'm flipping it, 2 over negative radical 3. Okay, and those 2's would cancel. So I get 1 over negative radical 3, which you guys know is not acceptable. We have to rationalize the denominator, so we multiply by radical 3 over radical 3. So our answer is, since there's a negative here, we're just going to make it negative out front. 1 times radical 3 is radical 3. So that's my numerator, over, remember, radical 3 times radical 3 is the square root of 9, which is 3. So that's number 12 on the worksheet. Negative the square root of 3 over 3. And then number 17, okay? Again, on our quiz, I'm not going to make you find all 3. I'm just going to ask for one of them, like number 12. And you'll see that on our practice quiz, but just to do this one. And by the way, don't worry about number 22. We're not going to have any word problems on our practice quiz or quiz. All right, so this is negative 225. All right, so if I were to draw this in standard position, okay, remember we always start our initial side on the x-axis. And then our terminal side, remember, negative degree measures is clockwise. So I'm going to go down. Remember, that's negative 90, negative 180. So negative 225 would probably stop about there. Oh, it's not a very good line. But there's my terminal side, and we would have labeled it negative 225 degrees. Okay. All right, so that's 45 degrees more past 180, right? So if I go back up and look at my unit circle here, all right, you know, I'd be going around my negative 90, my negative 180, there's 30 more, 45. So it would be there. So I did a pretty good job there. All right, so that's the point we're looking at for this problem. Negative radical 2 over 2 and positive radical 2 over 2. Okay, so remember, we have to find the sine, cosine, and the tangent. So remember, the sine is the y. All right, so that's the positive radical 2 over 2. And the cosine is the x, which was the negative radical 2 over 2. All right, so remember, this was the y, this was the x, and tangent is the y over x. So the y, radical 2 over 2, positive, over the x, negative radical 2 over 2. What's something divided by itself? Simple, 1. But a positive divided by negative is negative. So for number 17, those are your three answers. The sine would be square root of 2 over 2, cosine negative the square root of 2 over 2, and tangent negative 1. Okay? So just wanted to review that quick with you. Some of you weren't quite getting that. Again, I'm getting those numbers from these points on the outside of my unit circle. And here's the radian measures, and there's the degree measures inside. So all you have to do is look at that picture of the unit circle. Okay, you can look at it on, you know, the videos. You can look at it out of your book. It's on page, let me find it for you. (944). Sorry about that. All right. So the unit circle picture is on page 994, or I'm sorry, 944. Let's do it here. Okay, that's where I got this slide, from page 944. So you look at that when you do your practice quiz and your quiz. Okay, so this is your last homework for your junior year or sophomore year. Some of you sophomores, a couple seniors we have as well. All right, so practice quiz 13.3, which I will post on Canvas. Remember, I have office hours if you want to ask questions. Mondays and Wednesdays from noon to 12:30, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 8:30 in the morning. So pop in and see me this last week. Say hi. I'm proud of you guys. You guys have done a great job all year. Let's finish strong. And you have a great day. Remember, look good, feel good. You are good. You're either the hammer or the nail, don't be the nail.